The Constitution of India, adopted in 1950, originally consisted of 395 articles, 22 parts, and 8 schedules. Over time, through amendments, its scope has expanded to address emerging needs of governance and society. Today, the Constitution contains 448 articles, 25 parts, and 12 schedules. The parts of Indian Constitution serve as the backbone, organizing its provisions into broad themes such as fundamental rights, directive principles, governance structure, and emergency provisions. Later additions like Part IXA, municipalities, Part IXB, cooperative societies, and Part XIBA, tribunals, highlight the evolving nature of constitutional law in India. It's also important to note that when new articles or parts are inserted, they are numbered alphabetically, like Article 21A, to maintain the document's structure without disrupting the original sequence. Parts of Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India is not just a legal document but also the supreme law of the land. It lays down the framework of governance by defining the roles of people in positions of authority and clearly outlining the limitations on their power. At the same time, it secures the rights, powers, procedures, and duties of both the government and the citizens. What makes it unique is its emphasis on the supremacy of the Constitution itself, rather than the supremacy of the legislature. This ensures that every law and every action of the government remains within the constitutional framework. To understand this structure better, here's an overview of the parts of the Indian Constitution presented in a table. Parts of Indian Constitution Overview. Particulars. Details. Constitution formed on November 26, 1949. Parts of Indian Constitution originally. 22 parts. Parts of Indian Constitution at present. 25 parts. New parts added in Constitution. Part 9A of the Constitution was inserted by the Constitution, 74th Amendment, Act, 1992. It contains provisions for local self-government at the urban level. Part IXB of the Constitution grants constitutional status to cooperative societies and contains provisions for their democratic functioning. It was inserted by the Constitution, 97th Amendment, Act, 2011. Part XIBA of the Indian Constitution provides for the appointment of tribunals for administrative and other disputes. It was not a part of the Constitution of India 1950, but was added by the Constitution, 42nd Amendment, Act, 1942. List of parts of Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution is a written document that serves as the supreme law of the land. It was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, with key contributions from leaders like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Rajendra Prasad, and Jawaharlal Nehru, and came into effect on January 26, 1950. To ensure clarity and proper governance, the Constitution is divided into distinct sections that address specific subjects. Over time, it has expanded and now consists of 25 parts, each focusing on different aspects of governance, rights, and duties. List of parts of Indian Constitution. Parts and subject. Articles. Part I, the Union and its territories. 1-4. Part 2, Citizenship. 5-11. Part 3, Fundamental Rights. 12-35. Part 4, Directive Principles of State Policy. 36-51. Part 4A, Fundamental Duties. 51A. Part B, the Union. 52-151. Part 6, the States. 152-237. Part 7, the states in Part B of First Schedule. 238 repealed. Part 8, the Union Territories. 239 to 242. Part 9, the Panchayats. 243, 243A. Part IXA, the municipalities. 243P, 243ZG. Part IXB, the cooperative societies. 243ZH, 243ZT. Part X, the scheduled and tribal areas. 244, 244A. Part 11, relation between the Union and the states. 245 to 263. Part 12, finance, property, contracts, and suits. 264, 300A. Part 13, trade, commerce, and intercourse within the territory of India. 301 to 307. Part 14, services under the Union and the states. 308 to 323. Part XIVA, tribunals. 323A, 323B. Part 15, elections. 324, 329A. Part 16, special provisions relating to certain classes. 330 to 342. Part 17, official language. 343 to 351. Part 18, emergency provisions. 352 to 360. Part 19, miscellaneous. 361 to 367. Part XX, amendment of the Constitution. 368. Part XXI, temporary, transitional, and special provisions. 369 to 392. Part XXII, short title, commencement, authoritative text in Hindi and repeals. 393 to 395. Parts of Indian Constitution details. The Constitution of India is the supreme law of the land. It was adopted on January 26, 1950 and originally contained 395 articles, 22 parts, and 8 schedules. Today, through amendments, it has expanded to 448 articles, 25 parts, and 12 schedules. Each part of the Constitution deals with a specific subject, from union and state structures to rights, duties, emergency provisions, and governance frameworks. Parts of Indian Constitution details. Part. Articles covered. Subject/theme. Brief explanation. Part I. Articles 1 to 4. The Union and its territory. Defines India as a union of states, regulates formation of new states and alteration of boundaries. Part 2. Articles 5 to 11. Citizenship. Lays down provisions for citizenship at the commencement of the Constitution and rules for acquisition/termination. Part 3. Articles 12 to 35. Fundamental rights. Guarantees 6 categories of fundamental rights to citizens, inspired by the U.S. Bill of Rights. Part 4. Articles 36 to 51. Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP. Guidelines for the state to establish a just society, non-justiciable but fundamental to governance. Part EVA. Article 51A. Fundamental duties. Lists 11 duties of citizens, added by the 42nd Amendment, 1976, on recommendation of Swaran Singh Committee. Part B. Articles 52 to 151. The Union. Deals with the Union government, executive, president, PM, Council of Ministers, Parliament, and Judiciary. Part 6. Articles 153 to 237. The States. Deals with state governments, governors, state legislature, and high courts. Part 7. repealed. States in Part B. Dealt with Part B states, repealed by the 7th Amendment, 1956. Part A. Articles 239 to 242. Union Territories. Provides for administration of Union Territories by the President through administrators. Part 9. Articles 243, 243a. The Panchayats. Establishes Panchayati Raj System, 73rd Amendment, 1992, for rural local self-government. Part IXA. Articles 243p, 243zg. The Municipalities. Establishes urban local bodies, 74th Amendment, 1992, with structure, powers, and responsibilities. Part IXB. Articles 243zh, 243zt. Cooperative Societies. Provides for regulation and management of cooperatives, 97th Amendment, 2011. Part X. Articles 244, 244a. Scheduled and Tribal Areas. Deals with administration of scheduled areas, 5th Schedule, and tribal areas, 6th Schedule. Part 11. Articles 245 to 263. Relations between the Union and States. Lays down legislative, administrative, and financial relations between the center and states. Part 12. Articles 264, 300a. Finance, property, contracts, and suits. Covers distribution of revenues, borrowing powers, property rights, and legal suits involving government. Part 13. Articles 301 to 307. Trade, commerce, and intercourse. Ensures freedom of trade and commerce across India, modeled on Australian Constitution. Part 14. Articles 308 to 323. Services under Union and States. Covers recruitment, conditions of service, and role of public service commissions. Part XIBA. Articles 323A, 323B. Tribunals. Provides for administrative tribunals and other tribunals for speedy justice, 42nd Amendment, 1976. Part 15. Articles 324, 329a. Elections. Deals with conduct of elections, empowers Election Commission of India. Part 16. Articles 330 to 342. Special provisions for certain classes. Safeguards for SCS, STS, and Anglo-Indians, including reservation of seats. Part 17. Articles 343 to 351. Official language. Declares Hindi in Devanagari script as official language, provides for use of English and development of regional languages. Part 18. Articles 352 to 360. Emergency provisions. Provides for national emergency, President's rule, and financial emergency. Part 19. Articles 361 to 367. Miscellaneous. Covers protection of president/governors, privy purses, interpretation of constitution, etc. Part XX. Article 368. Amendment of the Constitution. Provides the procedure for constitutional amendments, flexible yet rigid. Part XXI. Articles 369 to 392. Temporary, transitional, and special provisions. Deals with temporary and special provisions for certain states and union territories. Part XXII. Articles 393 to 395. Short title, commencement, authoritative text, repeals. Specifies short title, date of commencement, authoritative text in Hindi, and repeals of previous laws.